Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what by making them a gathering and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such industry stalwart on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Vasudevan Kidambi. He is a highly skilled and corporate-age professional with a wealth of experience spanning over 3 decades, including extensive work with multinational corporations and consulting on various aspects of corporate functioning. He has held various key roles in regional product and brand management for brands like Samsung, business transformation and management over his extensive career. As the Managing Director of Navo Management Consultants, Dubai, and Navo Informatics Private Limited, Bangalore, he leads the practice focused on consulting, future skill development, and technology solutions, driving organizations towards efficiency, excellence, and enhanced profitability. Additionally, as Director of Research Insights at Gates, he plays a pivotal role in shaping strategic initiatives within the organization. He is also giving his invaluable service to Navo in the capacity of its managing director. He has authored 5 books so far, of which his The One-Page Communicator, It's All About Delivering Clarity, is Amazon's #1 bestseller in 2023. Besides, he is about to launch his next book, The Art of Problem Finding, Discovering the Unknown Knowns. All right. So welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Kidambi.
Hi, Sunny, and good morning, and thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity, and thanks to World Development Corporation also.
So to begin with, our viewers are curious to know your career journey in brief and your current roles and responsibilities.
Okay, yeah. So my career started, there was a nostalgic brand called BPL. People in the 40s may remember, but people in the 50s and 60s will definitely remember. And I was in the production side of BPL for 2 years this time frame. Then I just left and then moved to pursue my MBA. And thereafter, I used to work for Dell in Saudi Arabia for 1 year. And then, of course, people run away from Saudi during those days I'm talking about. And then moved into the greener pasture called Dubai, where I was the first non-Korean employee Samsung during those time frames. So it was 94 till 2004. So I was the head of their business operation for the technology side of Samsung business for Middle East and Africa area. And after 10 years with Samsung, I moved on to the Japanese brand, another nostalgic, those days, golden brand called Sanyo. And I was heading their multi-industry brand, so to say, B2B, B2C, and all that. And again, for Middle East, Africa, and CIS countries. So total of 14 years is time frame with the global brands. And then 16 plus years of my stint as an entrepreneur, running my consulting company based out of Dubai and with my back office in Bangalore. So that's the 16 years of time. When you say 16 years, you can just summarize that into 3 recessions. It started with a recession, and as we are now through right through passing through this unpredictable phase of economic life, right? So this is the interesting phase of my career, the 16 plus years is time frame, where you get to solve challenges of multiple industry clients of mine. So that's where you also gain a lot of knowledge as well as an overall credibility in the market also. So that's the one of this. And then second, I have wear another hat, which is an author hat. As you introduced, I have already published 5, and then 6th book is The Art of Problem Finding, and I have a 7th one in the process. So that's one other hat that I wear. And besides, I also speaker on multiple, and predominantly today, I talk on generative AI as one of it's the most confusing subjects across different parts of the world. So I have taken a pivotal role in terms of spreading the awareness of generative AI through master classes, through webinars, and all that. And of course, and another very passionate subject that I talk is building resilience for a brave dark world. And that's precisely where we are moving through. During this particular phase, as everybody talks about this unpredictability and so on, but you can predict it. So if you are building resilience, you can reasonably predict. You may not be 100%, but you can prepare for 70%. We will talk about that more as we move on. So that's in short the whole career from where we started, maybe 32 years plus. Yes,
Mr. Kidambi, thank you for the excellent start to this interview. And I must say, your career journey is truly inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
So continuing our conversation, Mr. Kidambi, you have been instrumental in helping organizations navigate through distressed times such as like COVID-19 lockdowns, right? So could you elaborate on a specific instance where your strategies have led to significant outcome for the client?
Yeah, the COVID time was very interesting time, I must say, although there's a darker side to that. But it brought the businesses to standstill, and then that is when you actually go through the process of you can actually put your businesses through a maintenance process, right? And so I came up with a concept called reboot, realign, and recover. So the three-step stage phases, that's the thing that I did. And then that's where I brought all my previous years' experience and put them together into a product called Business Health Check. So the organization, no matter what, however healthy it was, it actually went through a jolt, right? And it really needed, and if anybody wants to recover and take off from whichever state that they were in, we need to know what is pulling you down, right? Down south, right? So only a health check can help you achieve that. And the health check is nothing but an approach. And today that health check is the final outcome of the health check is the problem finding, right? So we naturally used to go and then find problems in the organizations before it actually could occur, and before the organization people or the C-suite leaders knew about it. That is where this tongue twister has come to the title, which says unknown knowns and unknown unknown, right? So unknown known is nothing but you have it, but you don't know it. That's unknown unknown. So the entire business health check is nothing but very similar to people who go to the doctor. It's actually an unknown known. It is there, but we don't know, and we need a doctor to decipher that. And that's where my business health check helped a lot of organizations, maybe service organization, or a facility management, or real estate, or distribution. So that's where I made a big difference for all of them. And at the end of the day, the entire business health check goes towards how can we improve the profitability. So enhancing profitability and efficiency becomes a core aspect of the business health check. So the entire process of reboot, realign, and recover was the framework with which I have helped many of the organizations during those distress times.
Amazing. That sounds incredible. All right. So, Mr. Kidambi, your recent publications, One Page Communicator, The Prompting Playbook, and C3, Corporate Conundrums and Confusions, have received significant attention. So could you share insights into them along with your next book?
Yeah, okay. So I will quickly go through the books. This is your One Page Communicator. And incidentally, being in Dubai, one of the books that I endeavor was I did make it in Arabic also for the local audience. So I did show certain amount of responsibility to the geography that made me what I am today, right? So One Page Communicator is all about telling a story. Today, we are wired for stories. Human beings are actually wired for. We are not wired for reports and complex stuff, tables and all that. We are wired for reports. So can we give an entire thing in one page? So the origin started during my Samsung days, when my president used to come and tell us, we prepare a lot of presentations and so on, and he would ask one page. And we did not realize at that point in time, but however, for anybody, it is much easier if I can just look at the entire story in one single page. I am in a much better position to take a decision. So if I want a decision outcome from my boss, I better go with the story. And that story, if it is presented in one page, that's fantastic. Because human memory cannot relate the second page to sixth page and ninth page and so on. So therefore, it becomes very. So it's a skill, and that skill I have been using that skill even to as an output of my consulting assignments. So it made a big impact with the C-suite leaders. Then over a period of time, I said, okay, let this skill be shared with everybody else. And that's where this one-page communication came. And then it won the Golden Book Award early this year in Pune. The function was there. So that's about the Golden Book Award. So that's about the one-page communication. So this prompting playbook was my first book that I came up with in the generative AI space. So a year ago, the generative AI was being talked of in the form of ChatGPT across board. You sit in any meeting, ChatGPT is there, sitting there, right, even before us, right? But the knowledge level I felt was a little bit shallow at a very at mid-management and senior management level. So that's where I stepped in to understand the entire gamut of generative AI and how it can actually bring in power to the workforce, how I can put 3 hours of time into your pocket every day. And that's huge. So if I sum up the generative AI's power in terms of economics, one person can do 10 people's job 10 times faster at 1/10 of the cost. You may replace 10 with 5 or 6 or 4, no matter what. And it's a huge economics. So then I said, okay, if I have to get into the space, I better be much more serious. So this is the book that I brought as my first book. A sequel to this is my book, which is an e-book, and it's a living manual. And that's titled as Build Your Own AI Garage. So an engineer is best, we can say, it is his ability to use the tools, right? And similarly, today, all these tools, AI tools, are handy for us. And it's all of us up to us to see how best and how efficient we are going to use these tools in order to deliver speed and efficiency, both cost efficiency as well as the efficiency of the output itself. So on my final book, this is a very interesting book, and it's called C3, and people now remember it as C3, which is Corporate Conundrums and Confusions. These are all the practical experiences converted into books. So in conversations, we always I've been sitting in leadership meetings. People have to understand what's the difference between playbook and SOP, right? And you're confused. Now people are confused between consistency and innovation. So you press the wrong button in a wrong place. Where consistency is required, you can't harp for innovation. Where innovation is more important than consistency, then you again press the wrong button. So this was a confusion. Conundrum. Conundrum is all about, many people had to learn what conundrum is. It's about dealing with competing priorities. Both are important. In an organization, consistency is important. Innovation is important. How do we deal with this? How do we deal with coming to our corporate governance? How do we deal with confidentiality and transparency? Now, all the more that we are into this AI space. So these are all the conundrums that corporates faces, and also confusion between words and so on. Then I thought, let me just come with a very, it's all about delivering clarity. My job is to deliver clarity, whether it is content or whether it is data, right? That's where this book comes. And then coming to my final book, which is the problem finding book. This was an inspiration when I saw World Economic Forum declared 4 months before that the world should be moving from problem solving skills to problem finding skills, because more and more this AI takes shape. They will solve the problems before the problem happens, right? No, they will solve the problem as it happens. But human beings will have to apply their intelligence to find the problem before it happens. Now, that's where the shift in skill, the call for shift in the skill was given by World Economic Forum. But that's nothing but my business health check is nothing but the similar practices, as well as the other book that I'm researching for more than 1.5 years is time frame where the world is moving, which I characterize as dark world. because there are a lot of unknown unknowns out there. So the unknown knowns are nothing but you do through the process of a very curiosity-led data analytics, which is the unknown knowns. But the unknown unknowns are organizations still are not prepared for many things, many aspects, although they are all hovering around us. Your de-dollarization or de-globalization, it's not known to us, right? We still don't know what how are we going to implement these things, and how are you going to prepare for a world which is a de-globalized world or a de-dollarized world, or this population dynamics, the way things are happening, the rise in global conflicts. So these are all the unknown knowns. And how do we bring in a sense of what I call it as preparation? And it's a very, very important aspect of leadership today, right? And that's where I bring in that aspect of the problem, the art of problem finding, based on the kind of case studies that I've already done. And I'm sure it will be a pioneering book, because on that space, I doubt there's any book that's existing today.
Amazing, amazing, Mr. Kidambi. So moving forward, our viewers would like to know, working in the business transformation and consulting domain, how did your expertise evolve further into corporate governance?
I believe, Sunny, anybody who is a true corporate governance person will have certain innate character in them. Because a corporate governance requires three aspects, right? One is accountability, one is integrity, and one is transparency, right? Now these three things have a character background behind this. And see, how can you be accountable? You can be accountable only when you are fearless, right? And therefore, that is an internal character. And honesty is the background of integrity, right? Third one, transparency is nothing but, the moment you know that this information has certain implications on different stakeholders, we just have to go and tell them. These are innate characters in me, but the whole thing started from the Samsung days, where when Samsung had to implement certain global policies across board, and I was leading that particular practice over and above my regular responsibilities in terms of taking their global practices and then customizing that for localized scenarios. So I was leading that during those time frames, and while in Sanyo, I also was an integral part of the team implementing Sarbanes-Oxley during those time frames. It's called JSOX. It's a Japanese version of that, which has been implemented across all the subsidiaries globally. So these two were in a way was always there during my career. And also, it's very important to pick what is the right approach. For example, even when you do a sale as a young sales person during the initial days, you can do a sale and you can reverse a sale the following month, right? But it doesn't happen. Then we learn that what is the revenue recognition. So revenue recognition also is a governance area. What is risk mitigation? So the corporate life taught me all those, and that was very handy for me when I started my consulting practice. So for me, compliance is first and foremost, right? And then the business health check is all about risk mitigation, right? And that's the whole art of problem finding is all about risk mitigation at the end of the day, right? So this is how the whole journey started way back. Maybe subconsciously it was there, and over a period of time it becomes a very firm output from my side. To me, compliance is horse matter, putting the horse in front of the cart, and that's very important. And this is what I keep always advocate when I work with my clients.
Absolutely. So before we conclude our discussion on corporate governance, I would like to ask you, as a corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
Well, as I just reflected in the previous question. So it is the accountability and integrity and the transparency, right? So the I have this concept of celebrating fearlessness. Sorry, celebrating failure, right? So when there is a failure, the failure is to be seen as you are learning. The governance matters comes into corporate only when you see something is happening and you start covering it. That's where the whole thing happens, right? All the corporate things that are happening are purely because somebody tries to keep on covering over a period of time, and then once a time comes when it goes out of proportion and the world comes to know about it. And that's what we have seen in numerous cases. But accountability is when you have eliminated that fear. So these are all characters innate. Even all these things are laced with ethics, then the outcome of that is trust. So trust is not something that you cannot buy. Trust is something, is an outcome of these elements. And these are innate in me, and therefore for me, governance or compliance is very natural thing. Right? And when it comes to transparency, I have a policy, not only for me, for my team also, right from Samsung days, is you have to share an information at the time of knowing. So I always ask, when did you know? And if the person is at the time between the sharing and knowing, if that is there, if he did not knew before, it's okay. But from the time of knowing, that's called a transparency. And of course, then the next thing comes is what is the understanding of transparency and confidentiality. This is the third area. Third, of course, we need to pay attention to these nuances, be curious about these aspects of the corporate governance, and then you are able to make sense not only to yourself but to the large corporate audience also.
Absolutely. All right. So moving forward, Mr. Kidambi, what are some changes you wish to bring in your field of business transformation?
Well, to bring in, that's why I'm taking this 2 steps. The people will have to move from problem solving to problem finding. This is a very, very important. That's where a big component is risk mitigation. Your risk mitigation can happen only when the mindset is shifting from the analytical to critical thinking. So the leadership has to have this critical thinking. Now, if you have to have critical, I actually work backwards. But if you have to have critical thinking, how is it possible? So it has to precede by something called curiosity. Very interestingly, World Economic Forum, among the top 10 skills that they have declared the Davos summit 6-7 months before, it says curiosity and continuous learning as one of the very important skill for leadership. I said, it's very funny, but yes, it is. We need today a World Economic Forum to come and tell us, start learning how to be curious. This is exactly what we were curious at the 6 to 7 months, 8 months child. We were all curious about anything and everything, but the system and the society kept on, bringing that innate skill. Everybody has got 120% in abundance during that time frame. But today we have to go and then learn curiosity. So it is always curiosity-led thinking, and that's called the critical thinking. And this is a shift that I want to see, because you can minimize the risk phenomenally using this path, and this path is very important. That's what the World Economic Forum has done. Second thing is preparation, and I've done several keynote speeches on this. Now, well, we do business plans, and people would have done their business plan in India. People would have finished their business planning for the next financial year. They do all the P's, 4 P's, 5 P's, 6 P's, process, people, and all that. I declare saying that if we don't have 1 P, which is mother of all P's, which is preparation, then all the rest of the P's will be meaningless, right? And that preparation is, are we preparing our organizations, our companies for 2027, 2028, 2029? We don't need to go too far, but we need to prepare, because many things are going to change during this time frame. And the change doesn't happen all on a sudden, except for COVID, right? We can say attribute that was something sudden, people did not know. We can call it as a black swan event and all that. However, everything else, there is something that is brewing. India is leading de-dollarization, right? And therefore, it becomes very important for people to understand what this is and what are the changes that we can bring in. So in case of deglobalization, in case of population dynamics, now it's any business is directly a function of the population. Now, how can we define population today? Several lakhs of people from north have come to south. To the extent we are talking in Hindi in the restaurants in South India, right? So the dynamics of people moving from India to the other geographies. So this kind of migrative phenomena is huge during this time frame. People have to understand that and what's happening on that. 80% of the global conflicts are centering around the Asia area. Now, anything can happen anytime, and I would believe there should not be a black swan event in 2027, 28 because everything is happening, brewing right now. So this is a shift that I expect from people. And build your governance, build your risk mitigation, build your compliances or whatsoever towards this. And therefore, 30% of the leadership must be focusing on, am I preparing the organization for the next 3 years, 5 years time frame? And that should be a boardroom subject. And that should be the business planning strategy meet subject. But I don't think that's happening because we are back into the same the 4 P's, 5 P's, 6 P's, and 7 P's, and so on. But the mother of all P's should be the preparation, and that has to set in. And that's why I talk about it. And yes, I'm going to come up with a highly researched book. It may take another 4 months' time frame. Yeah, these are the two things that I'm trying to influence the corporate world.
Great. Mr. Kidambi, thank you for sharing such amazing insights into different subjects. So this brings us to the last question of the session, and here it is. We are building a community of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the team of World Development Corporation?
Well, it's a lovely initiative these gentlemen are taking. I have not physically seen Zishan Pathan, but in a digital plane, I've seen him because I've already gone through the entire one program where he is the main anchor speaker in that. Wonderful way of giving the knowledge on various aspects of governance by Zishan. Heval Mehta, I've already met him. I was had the opportunity to pass through your World Development Corporation offices, and I believe the leader you can have a taste of a leader when you actually walk into the office and look at the people behavior, the staff behavior. And I was actually amazed, and I've told this maybe 8 or 9 times to many occasions, that the way people treated any strange visitor was fantastic, right? And that shows a good character of a leader, and that's Heval Mehta. And then, of course, thereafter we had a very long, sound discussion also. And wonderful. The initiative is fantastic. It's a critical space that they are addressing. This criticality of this space is going to be much more visible as we move on, and therefore, yeah, they're doing a wonderful job. I must congratulate them and appreciate them. Yeah.
Great. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Kidambi, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you, Sunny, and thanks to World Development Corporation, and then have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. Likewise, you too have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah.